Hey everyone, Alan Warren here, the RV Wingman, doing my level best to help you avoid trouble in the RV world and to connect you with some of America's most trusted RV dealers and name some that I think you should avoid like the plague. Now, today's video is special. It's for anyone who has purchased a new RV through Camping World since 2017. If that's you, please listen up. This video has the potential to cost Camping World many millions of dollars, and it won't cost you a dime. In fact, if you bought a new RV from Camping World from 2017 to today, you're going to learn how to possibly put thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars back in your pocket. That's right. For years, Camping World has trapped buyers in loans that they can't escape, buried them in hidden fees, and used what do they call it? Predatory pricing tactics to squeeze every last dollar from the customers. But you know what? Their game's over. A major court ruling just dropped in Oregon back in December, and it has blown the lid off their shady business practices nationwide. Now, if you like today's video, please help us, as they say, wake up the algorithm by posting your comments and sharing this video everywhere. Something tells me that Camping World would very much like to see this video have just a little bit of reach, if any at all. So if you like the video, as I said, let's wake up the algorithm with your comments. Now, my friend Kevin Fraser is here. He's going to join us in a bit to break it all down. And let me tell you, this man is fearless. He's also a genius, and he's not afraid to call out the corruption, expose the fraud, and show you how to get justice. This is what I believe leadership looks like. Kevin has worked tirelessly to put together a strategy that could shake Camping World to the core. And today he's sharing it with you. Now, we have made it easier than ever for you to take action. Throughout this video, where's my phone? Throughout this video, you're going to see a QR code pop up here on the screen. When you see it, I hope you'll grab your phone and scan it. That QR code will walk you through every single step of the process to file your claim and get your money back. It's simple. It's fast, and it could put thousands of dollars back in your pocket. Now, here's the deal. We cannot get justice. We can't do it if we do this alone. We need your help to help spread the word. Please share this video with everyone you know, especially anyone who purchased a new RV from any Camping World location since 2017. Post the video, repost it, send it to your RV groups, your friends, your family. This is your chance to not only get your money back, but to finally get some revenge on a retailer who's been ripping people off for years. Kevin, I know of thousands, many thousands of people who are so desperately upside down in their RV that they purchased from Camping World. They've got a 15 or 20-year note. They can't sell, they can't trade, they are trapped, and there is no option for them, and they are desperate to come up with something. And you're telling me that a blessing has happened from the great state of Oregon, that these people, some of these people might be able to be saved.
No, probably all of them. The first thing you do is you download this. This is a link. And justice is at hand for Camping World victims. You would often plead with me, help these people. I would shine you on and say, be patient.
Right.
Yeah, and now finally, deliverance is here. What we've had happen to us is justice. You're in a 15, you're in a 20-year loan, you got negative equity. People know what that means. That means that they owe more money than the RV is worth.
And sometimes a lot more.
A lot more.
Not a little bit. We're talking $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 more than the RV is worth.
Yes.
But this judge in Oregon has ruled in the consumer's favor.
Yes.
Against Camping World. But that's just Oregon. Is that a good thing for people in other states?
Okay, Oregon's the first one.
Okay.
There's files open in 47 different states. And Oregon is merely the first state to get to the end. Consumer law at the Justice Departments for the various states, and for that matter in Washington, D.C., moves very, very slow. Think of a snail in cold water crawling along really slow. Okay. And this snail has been crawling along really slow. And now we've got a ruling, and we got a judge imprimatur on it, and that ruling says that Camping World in 17 and 18 These claims are only valid through 2018 December. They used what they call aggressive sales tactics. What we call is the Camping Worth method. What the colloquial term is, the slang term is, it's called the pork chop method, where you take everything you can from the consumer. You advertise a really, really low price, but then you add all these fees on it.
Right.
And your listeners know about this.
Yes.
This is the first time that a judge has ruled against Camping World. Well, that slow snail from Oregon has crossed the line. They've extracted $3.5 million from Camping World to make those people that had the money stolen from them prior to it.
But this is 2017 and
18.
2018.
But the ruling also says if you have been so treated by Camping World in the months and years after that, make a claim to State of Oregon, Department of Justice in the next 6 months, and we will get your restitution.
But I don't live in Oregon.
There's files open in 47 states. And those 47 states that have their files open all essentially have the same consumer protection laws, because the consumer protection laws that were written back in the 60s, 70s, and adopted in the 70s were all based on the federal code. They're all mirrors of each other. So it's true everywhere. I know of, from the video we published in 18, I know of hundreds of people that have filed with their respective states. Illinois, Tennessee, Kentucky.
And because Oregon, this judge in Oregon, has ruled on the side of consumers, finally, the AGs in the other states are going to rule on behalf of the consumer if they follow suit with Oregon. This could be a domino effect for consumers.
It has to be. In the law, precedent is everything. The judge in Oregon has set the precedent. All these other AGs have been going really, really, really slow. Now, you want to defend the AGs? Consumer law is always really, really slow, but something else happened and added 3 or 4 years to this process, and that was the pandemic. They just shut everything down for 3 or 4 years. And now Oregon, the first snail to cross into justice, has opened this up. Now, all those hundreds of people that I have spoken to, I don't know how many you've spoken to,
lots,
who have said that I've made a filing with my Attorney General, Consumer Protection Affairs, and I never hear anything from them. Okay, look at this. Okay. This is your link to go to Oregon. You're going to get a press release that gives the details of that first settlement, and you're going to download it. And if you have not filed a complaint, a claim for a refund, and we'll go through that in a little bit, you're going to attach this to that to remind your AG in Iowa or Minnesota that there's already been an adjudication.
Okay, we're going to get to that, but I want you to explain to me, in layman's terms, what did Camping World do? What did the judge go, that is against the law?
And it is clearly against the law, too. This is the ruling, the summary.
This was the link that we're going to have. Got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in this summary, it says that you cannot ever charge a different fee, a different price, if it's credit or cash.
Okay.
And that's older than 60s or 70s. That goes way back to that song after the World War, 16 tons. I owe my soul to the company store. Because bad actors in mining towns would charge extra money for those people to go to the company store, which was the only place you could get your can of beans. Okay, but that's older law. It's still valid, federal and state. And then the newer parts of the law are including any amount for freight or prep. Well, why is that? Because you got an MSRP sticker that's on the camper, manufacturer suggested retail price. And that is implicit and includes freight from the factory to the dealer.
But Kevin, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people who have purchased an RV from Camping World and other chain dealers.
Oh, yes.
That have been charged that's a different thing, but charged freight on top of the freight that the dealer was already paying. So they're paying for it twice.
Exactly. That's exactly what the judge told us and finally confirmed in Oregon. That freight was already in the MSRP. No matter how much they discount the RV, it's already implied. It's there. You're paying it twice.
So me, as the consumer, I'm going to get that money back.
You betcha.
Okay, but I have to file with the Attorney General.
Yes.
And that's what all this documentation is
We'll go through that.
Going to help me do. What if Camping World goes bankrupt? Sorry, we're going to file bankruptcy.
Well, that's certainly been hypothesized, but we'll go through a little more of that later on. Camping World owes $2.5 billion to bankers and other creditors. $2.5 billion, 2,500 and some million. But this is not a lawsuit. This is a claim under the law for a refund. You were overcharged unlawfully. You don't have to go into a courtroom. You don't have to convince a jury. The Attorney General on your behalf, or if it goes to the federal level, the federal attorney extracts that money from Camping World and then distributes it to you. And if Camping World goes bankrupt, your claim is superior to every other claim in that bankruptcy court except for the tax man.
Really?
And there's $2.5 billion that has to be paid back to bankers, and there's $2.5 billion that has to be paid back to other lenders. Your claim is superior because you were charged monies you should not have been charged under the law. So you're going to get first dibs.
This is friggin' huge. I mean, this could be seismic across every state where Camping World has sold these trailers.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. But there's things about this that are Byzantine in their complexity because it's not, you just alluded to it. It's not just Camping World. When we published this video, our video, warning people about this in 2018, suddenly, this came out during show season 2018, and suddenly Camping World got these reports from the people that work for the factories. All Camping World did was take down all their signs in Kansas City and Miami, everywhere, at every show, that said there was a different price for credit.
Credit versus cash.
Yeah, because that's a real dangerous one. That's been around forever. And it must have been Camping World's attorney says, you got to take that down. And they took it down. And then nothing happened to Camping World. And nothing happened to Camping World for a year. And then a year goes by and it's show season in 19. And Camping World signs back up. Well, you have to pay freight, and you have to pay prep, and you have to pay a different price for cash or credit.
Yes, yes.
Now, and don't be deceived by that either. If you took the credit option, that same amount of money is in there. They just marked up the loan. They took a commission from the lender. So the money's there either way. You've been ripped off. Whether you took the cash option or the credit option, you've been ripped off.
But they've been doing this for years.
Because the AGs didn't step on them. And when 19 came around and Camping World got away with it again.
And then COVID.
And then the other dealers started doing it. The chains, they started doing all these same Camping World techniques. The pork chopping of their customers. They would add on for the freight, the prep, and you want to, well, we got an exact example, but you want to just write us a check, or you want to use your credit union, we can't allow that. That's going to cost you an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever it was. And they got away with it because they said, Camping World said, well, everybody else does it. Well, suddenly everybody else was doing it. That's the reason we made this vid back in 18. We weren't doing it.
So give me the example. I know you've got one here.
All right, because this is happening right now. Right now, the news is out about what happened in Oregon.
Yes.
Okay. The sales representatives that work for Camping World at all the shows are feeding out this line of patter. Oh, this is all just something from the far past. This is a one-off. This only happened in Oregon, and it happened years ago, and we've already settled, and it's all over with. It doesn't count, right?
Yeah, just minimize. Yeah. It's a lie. That's a lie.
And what would you know? And I just figured this is Kismet. One of my sales guys on January 13th, 2025, he has a customer who calls him up and wants to buy one of our particular models that we have advertised online. And that particular model is a 2025 Wolf Pup 16B HBL.
Okay.
And he calls up the local, he's from Michigan, near Lansing. And he calls the Camping World guys, or online, they're $24,999. So he calls my guy, Matthew, and Matthew says, no, we're $19,999. Well, what about the fees? And I want to pay cash. It's $19,999, Matthew says. So he calls his rep at the Camping World in Lansing, Michigan. And that guy says, oh, no, we'll price match. Okay, well, then price match and send me an email. No, you got to come in. You got to come in. I'll give it to you all in writing. And so he goes there, and we got a copy of that too. And he says, well, it's not $24,999. I told you I'd price match. Now it's $20,499.
Mm-hmm. Getting better.
Wait a minute. You said you'd match. Match would be $19,999. And this rep who's trying to pork chop him says, oh, well, it costs you at least $500 to drive to Iowa and back, won't it? So that's their idea of match. But it gets a lot worse. And we got freight. $2,195 in freight. What do you need freight? It's here. I'm not asking you to take it anywhere. No, that's the freight to get it here from the factory.
Wow.
And
this is where they're stepping over the line. This is where they.
This is one of the ones that the judge mentioned specifically. And now we got to prep it. Oh, and you got prep of $2,250. Well, what's that for? To make sure that everything works and it's safe to use. That's implied in the MSRP. That's what the judge ruled. These are all no-nos. These are clear violations.
And this happened in Michigan.
Michigan, at the Camping World near Lansing. And so this particular charge for prep, when you buy something, it's intended use. You're not buying an automobile that won't drive off the lot. It's assumed it works, right? It's assumed that it's ready to go. You got a warranty if it breaks later, but it's assumed. No, you can't do that. And then finally, I sold my soul to the company store is in here too. $3,150 on a $20,000 trailer, not to finance it. And then they went on down and did the financing stuff.
Look at the difference in price, almost $8,000.
Okay, but now we want to talk about this. It's not unlawful for them to charge a higher price for this. And on the worksheet that they provided, which I guess you'll put up, the worksheet that they provided, they charged some ridiculous numbers. They charged $800 for wiring, and that didn't include the brake control on a pickup truck. Okay, that's not unlawful. You can charge whatever you can get away with. That's not unlawful. But these are. You cannot charge a different price for freight. You cannot charge a different freight prep. And you certainly can't. That's old law.
On the cash
charge
versus
a
credit.
different price, cash or credit.
I know there's no way of knowing, but I would assume almost every RV that Camping World has sold, almost every one, they have done this. I mean,
maybe all three, maybe only two. But yes.
But any of them, it's my money.
Exactly.
And so if I'm upside down, if I feel like there's no way out, they buried me, I feel stupid maybe, I'm angry, I am upside down, I owe years and years and years on a camper that's not going to be worth it.
They do on $20,000 campers, they do 15-year loans, 20-year loans.
So what we're going to do is provide the documentation for everybody. Everybody. If they purchased a new RV and they were charged extra freight, extra prep, and extra charge for the credit versus cash.
Well, this is a little tricky. We want to talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Suppose that you say, no, I don't want to pay that extra $3,000. I won't use my own credit union. I'll use you. That fee that they were going to charge you is still refundable to you because that's in the interest rate that you paid with the credit they provided.
It's built in.
So you still have a claim there.
Okay, so once I fill out this paperwork, and I think it sounds harder than it's going to be because
I got hundreds of people have done it and told me that. They've just been waiting.
So if I file this paperwork, that's all I have to do.
Yes.
I don't have to go to court, don't have to hire a lawyer.
That's absolutely true.
I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to call anybody, yell at them. I just file the paperwork and be patient and spread the word. Let other people know.
If you know anybody, okay, what happened after 2019? Because Camping World got away with it, every dealership, well, not every dealership, the chains, we never did it, the chains did it. They started employing Camping World techniques. The pork chop was used over and over and over again by everybody, and they were charging these fees. Now why? Well, it wasn't just that Camping World got away with it, it was that a lot of these people that now work at the other chains used to work for Camping World and said to their bosses,
well, they're doing it over there.
we can grab a lot more money. What do you mean a lot more money? $7,500 on a $20,000 trailer? Yeah, we can do that.
That's a lot more money.
That's a lot more. In percentage terms, it's chart busted.
Okay, Kevin, I got to ask a question. What's in this for you? I mean, you know, you're exposing this. It's the truth. It's just like your video in 2018. It was the truth. What are you hoping to get out of this? I mean,
well, first
besides doing the right thing.
Well, also, I get you saying, you'll stop saying to me, what are we going to do about this? That's important. But these people will finally be able to sell the RV that they're upside down in. But some of them might not want to get out of RVing. Some of them might want to buy another RV, and then they can trade with me.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's mercenary, but that's the hopeful idea.
Yeah. But, you know, it's the truth. And these people, you know, doing YouTube videos and getting emails all the time and listening to folks, the horror stories are just terrible. You hear them all the time.
I get them all.
It's sad, and this is some relief for them. Thank God, you know, Oregon is not, I don't lean politically the way they do out in Oregon, but thank goodness this judge out there.
Oregon did it, and now we have legal precedent. And if you're in Ohio or Tennessee, if you're in New York or Kansas, your AG should do this. You download this, and you attach it to your claim, and they got place for documents.
And the documentation of the purchase documents, that probably the worksheet.
Oh yes, I pray to God you all save the documents from your contract. It'll be in your camper. And we haven't even covered that. There's going to be, but you can find out about all that stuff if you just go to my video from 2018.
Yes.
There are other claims that you've got, and you may have bought an extended service plan, also called an extended warranty, for way too much money. And you'll put a link up on how to get a refund on that.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the stuff that we learn about from Camping World. And Camping World has been doing so many odd things, but there's also a lot of gossip going around with Camping World. Okay, every 13 weeks, Marcus Lemonis, the CEO of Camping World, is obligated to give a report and answer questions
to shareholders.
Of shareholders. Now, those questions are put to him by bankers and stockbrokers that he selects.
Right.
Okay. Now, we alluded to the extraordinary amount of debt that Camping World has, $2.5 billion. That's increased 250% just since 18. And every 13 weeks, he promises he's going to reduce the debt, but it never gets reduced. Okay. Now, he gets questions repeated at these events. The most asked question is, when are you going to reduce your debt? And he always says right away, and he never does. And one of the other questions he gets quite frequently is critical to people that are in my business. It's critical to me. What ratio of repeat and referral business do you get? If you sell somebody an RV, and this goes to your question, what percentage of the time do they buy their second RV from you? And I've heard him ask that question, and he never has the answer. And he always says, I'll get back to you. Hasn't he told you 3 or 4 times he was going to sit down for an interview with you? Did he ever sit down for an interview?
No, that was years ago, though. But.
Yes. Well, I believe that he doesn't want to talk about his referrals and repeats because he doesn't have any. When he buys an RV store that's very successful, say it's selling 1,000 units a year, and has some very good people working for it, a year after he buys them, they're all gone, and 3 years after he buys it, they're selling 600 or 500 or 300 units because their reputation has gone to crap in the local market.
That's true.
Now, this is my 59th year in the RV business. And what we relied upon all those years was repeat and referral business and the observed function of a family that buys their first RV. If you bought one, you would buy 4. That was the average. And that's what kept us in business. And our R&R, refer and was always in the 70s. Repeat and referral was always in the 70s. And that made us I don't think you can get rich in the RV business. I don't think it is a get rich quick. I don't think it is monopoly profits. But that's not our philosophy. Camping World.
But Kevin,
Camping World.
Kevin, these dealers, led by, I think, Camping World, have helped destroy the American family, the future of RV sales, by doing things like this and adding things on. And this is the only way that I can see where people can get whole again. At least they can get out of their RV if they want to get out of it. They can trade out.
The question that I get more than any since we put this up is, why would they do that? Aren't they destroying their own business? See, right now the RV business is in a depression, so repeat and referrals is really tough no matter what, but it's also critical. I just told you we're in the 70s regularly. Last year we were in the 90s because that's the only business we got. Advertising doesn't work when you're in a depression. But they keep doing this, and it's not just Camping World. So what's their game? Their game is the big score. Go to the stock market and take in Camping World. They went public in 2016. They say they're a company that's been around since 1966, but the iteration, the company they are now, was created in 2016. They went out at an IPO, that's initial public offering. Their stock sold for $22.50. Okay. Within a year after that, the insiders, and who are the insiders? Steve Adams was the main guy.
Yeah.
And he recruited and found Marcus Lawrence to be his CEO. And they went into the market and sold shares that they owned that they didn't have any base, so they didn't pay for it. The company gave it to them for services. They sold all their shares for an average of $42. The shares are worth like 40 now, and they ain't gonna stay there.
Right.
They pulled out about 1.2 billion, $1,200 million. Even if the Steve Adams gang was into dividing it equally, that's life-changing wealth for each and every one of them.
Yeah.
That's why you go to the stock market, to get the big pile of money. And why do you keep it going then after you get that big score? Because you think you might be able to push the stock price up and do it again. Or you think you might be able to go through bankruptcy and reset the whole thing. Or you think that this is just going to be a cash cow, because they're paying dividends, and apparently they're paying dividends with borrowed money.
Yeah, I don't get the math. I don't understand.
Okay, suppose that you wanted to get a loan from your bank for a business enterprise, and I know you've been in business before, or a mortgage for that matter, and what they want to know from you is who you are and are you going to pay it back. And they ask you to do a personal financial statement, right? And on the left is all your assets, and on the right are all of your liabilities, debts. And you fill it all out. And you get to the bottom and, oh my God, looks like I have $500,000 more liabilities. Yeah. I have a negative net worth of $500,000. But you know, I have some friends, and people generally like me. So I got $1 million worth of goodwill. I'll put that on the left-hand side. Now I'm worth $500,000. Surely the bank will approve that, won't they? Won't they?
And the goodwill, Camping World's got they got a big old price tag on their goodwill. I don't know how they came up with it.
They claim that they have an enterprise value of about $170 million, but they also got 770 or 780 in goodwill. People like me. So if you zero out the goodwill, they have a negative net worth of 170 million. Or no, 500 million. And they owe $2.5 billion, $2,500 million.
You had mentioned earlier something about the water, the ripple, and before we started videotaping, we were talking about tsunamis. That's a metaphor for what? Just give me the story.
Okay. I was in the South Pacific on a 30-meter boat, and the captain hollered for me to get to the wheelhouse now. And so I ran up there, and he handed me the binoculars, and he says, look at the horizon and focus back towards the boat slowly. And the sea was glass. It was mirrored. There was nothing there. There were no ripples. And it took a while, and I focused on it, and there it was. There was a ridge, almost like a water rainbow across the whole scan, from horizon to horizon in the water. And I said, Dan, I see it. What is it? He says, it's a tsunami.
How far away?
I couldn't tell. He said it was moving hundreds of miles an hour, and I believe him. And as I got close to the boat, it was about this high, 6 or 8 centimeters. And we were heading north, and he had gotten a tsunami warning that it was heading to the south. And it passed under our vessel, and he says he felt it, but I sure didn't.
Yeah.
But he's the captain.
But what happened
later in
to
the
the
day,
south?
a couple hours later, it came up on an island and wiped out 3 villages with total loss of life. When it came ashore, it was 8 meters high. They know that from the trees it marked.
Oh my God.
Because the energy in a tsunami is swirling inside the water. It doesn't move the water, energy moves through the water. And when it comes up the beach, it's got nowhere to go but up. And it went right over those villages. Okay, those legal drones that work in Chicago at the headquarters for Camping World, they can see the legal equivalent of those water rainbows way out on the horizon. Oregon was the first one to break over the beach. If there's 47 files open on Camping World, there's going to be 47 claims like this. And Oregon's a little state, and that only covered the period through December of 18. In this ruling from Oregon, they invited everybody that believes that they had been overcharged after December of 18 to file now.
This is a tsunami. If people will take action, and if they don't, you can't help them any more than this. I mean, this is...
You've been asking me for years, what can we do for these people?
Right.
We can't do anything for these people, but tell them that the law is finally going to be enforced.
Yes.
And where? Oregon. Why Oregon? Just dumb luck. Because everybody was delayed by the pandemic. Everybody was slow. They're notoriously slow anyway. But that snail in Oregon got across the line, and now it's available.
Okay, so what can I anticipate? What can the public anticipate hearing from Camping World? Typically, I think that companies are going to go, like you said, the people up there looking out on the horizon, they're going to go, ignore them, or tell them they're crackpots, or let's send them a dirty letter.
That's what Camping World always does.
What's
They always just say, oh, that's a one-off. That's never happened any other place. That's what this...
Minimize it.
The professional sales representatives of Camping World, when questioned about this at the show in Kansas City, are saying that was just an Oregon thing years and years ago, not to worry about it. We don't do that while they're doing it.
Right.
While they're doing it on January 13 in Michigan, they're doing it.
Yeah. So people just need to take action.
Well, get your money. Get you fixed so you can buy another RV, I hope. But even if you don't, just get out of this thing. You've been deceived, and you've been taken advantage of. And this is your chance to get out of it without ruining your credit and making payments for 15 more
Where
years.
does the money go, Kevin? If I am upside down and I've got this terrible loan that I'm going to be paying for forever, does the money come to me or does it go to the lender? I guess that's
okay. In this
question
case,
for a
it's going to
different
go
time.
to you.
Really?
Well, you're the one that was deceived. If it was an insurance claim, the loan documents specifically state that any monies that are paid in an insurance claim must be paid to the lender to reduce the outstanding balance if the repairs aren't made, like when you get a settlement that way.
Yeah.
Now, there may be loans out there that say if you receive any settlement for fraud or deceit, that those monies have to go to pay down the loan, but I haven't read a loan like that.
But the bottom line is I'm going to be a whole lot better off if I get my money back.
If you get a check for $7,500, yeah.
Yeah.
If you get a check for $15,000, yeah.
And I don't have to write a check to a lawyer.
No.
I don't have to file any paperwork except the original paperwork.
The state is there to serve you. These scams have gone on forever. But the federals haven't gotten involved. But you know who the federals get involved against? Every year or two, some car chain is shut down by the federals for doing stuff like this. But they never come after the RV guys. I don't know why. But the states are getting these complaints. You and I know, well, I know it because we put this video up in 18.
Yeah.
And people are always calling me and asking me, well, when am I going to get paid? What's happened? I beseech you, watch this vid. It's going to give you all kinds of ideas, including how to get the money back on your
ESP.
Yes, from Good Sam. which is another one of their scams that is not illegal. It's just immoral as hell. So you buy, let's say you bought this $20,000 trailer, and we don't know what this customer would have been charged, plus Good Sam products. We don't know what he would have been charged. But my brother went to the expo. You know what that is. It's an industry convention. And he overheard some guys bragging about how much they were charging for ESPs. And the one that stuck out for my brother was, these guys are, the one guy said, I sold a customer a used RV for $10,000 and an ESP for $12,000 and financed the whole thing.
Oh my God.
And they're proud of it because they've been trained in the pork chop method. They've been trained that you get rewarded by Camping World or the other chains for every extra dollar you extend. That there's no moral or legal hazard. Well, guess what? There are legal hazards, aren't there? But not in that overcharging for the ESPs. In fact, the Good Sam thing, Good Sam, okay, I got to tell you about this because this little old lady's at least as old as we are, and she sent me a prop to explain why Camping World.
I was going to ask you about that.
Okay. She got a British accent. She's from Florida. I know she's old because this is what, well, as old as we are. Because she tells me, back in the 1960s, I was a board member for Good Sam.
Wow.
And she wanted to know from me, how is it possible that Good Sam is now a rapacious insurance company? When I was with Good Sam, we were a fraternal order, a non-profit. We were nationwide. We had chapters, we had rallies, and we were RVers. That was when RVing was kind of new, and we were looking out for each other and trading secrets and help. And she said, how could that be? And I did the research for it. I cannot figure that out. I said, I'm sorry, dear. She had a British accent. But she had another question. She said, you were in your video, you weren't clear. Why would a company so deceive, so ruin, so wreck financially their customers? Because they're never going to have any repeat business. The question he'll never answer.
Right.
And I said, yes, dear, that's a fact. But why would they do that? I said, because they needed the quick score for the big bucks. And he said, well, what are you talking about? I said, he generated, let's do this imaginary black bag. And in this imaginary black bag, he told the bankers and the buyers of common shares there were monopoly profits. That even though every RV dealer in the country was a low margin operation, he had some good years and had some bad years, and boy do I know that. Mm-hmm. I have a secret way to make monopoly profits in the RV retailing space. But he could only do that by making up a story. And the reason it took so many years for Steve Adams to find somebody that could sell that idea is he needed to find Marcus Lemonis.
The right guy.
The right guy, and he did. And after trying many bankers to get that initial public offering, finally, Shazam, he has Marcus Lemonis. And Marcus Lemonis and Steve Adams and the whole Confederacy go public and grow out their $1.2 billion. Now, she still says to me, but why would they do that? And I said, to get the big money. They can get the little money. They can get the little piles of money here and there from the perks the company will pay them as employees, from the dividends and other stuff. They can keep working that, and there may even be a way to work a bankruptcy into another big payday. And she says, so this was all about just getting a big payday by convincing shareholders to buy? I said, yes. But what was in that black bag? Nothing.
Air.
And she sent me this in the post like a month later. And she had, this was her interpretation of the black bag I told her about. Monopoly profits. And And Lemonis took that to the and well, he was sponsored by Goldman Sachs and other bankers. And he took it to Goldman Sachs and the others and said, nobody else can do this, but I can. I know how to go out and buy hundreds of RV dealers and turn them into monopoly profit machines.
Well, he's the smartest man in the RV industry.
The smartest man
Absolutely.
on earth.
Absolutely.
He just had to violate the law a few thousand times. And then you know what she filled this up with?
What's that?
Go ahead and reach in. Hundreds of IOUs
Oh
from
my
Chris Lemon.
God.
Because she finally got it. It's all a fake. Hundreds of IOUs from Marcus Lemonis to the poor shareholders, because Lemonis is a very, very much equal opportunity guy.
Yeah, I think
He
is.
treats his customers and his employees and his lenders with equal disdain.
Yet he keeps on
He
going.
keeps going.
But let me tell you something. I think the day of reckoning is nearing for him. I think.
The word is that he's going to retire this year at 52. And the word is because he's bereft at the loss of his mentor.
Of course.
Nobody believes that.
Yeah, right.
What I hear and have heard for about a year is that he and the gang are facing serious legal challenges.
I wonder why.
Now, I didn't know what they were because, I mean, he does a lot of stuff. Maybe it was something to do with this stock deal.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something to do with
Who knows?
lemon laws. Maybe, no, Oregon just told us on December 16th, it has to do with the fact that the gates are open and everybody, thousands, tens of thousands of people are due giant refunds on transactions that were unlawful. That's it. That's those rings of water out in the far distance in the ocean that the lawyers last summer, when Moody and Karen, whatever her name was, suddenly retired, they already knew about this, because if you have a giant settlement like this, they've been negotiating with Oregon for a year or maybe longer.
Right.
Now, how many other states?
Would that absolve them? I know you're not a lawyer, but I would think that this is a sticky deal. They're not going to be able to just walk away and go.
This is a money civil thing. Nobody's going to jail. This is a money civil thing. I believe.
Really?
They just got to cough up the coin. Now, could you say that?
Yeah, but can you imagine if they cough up these millions and millions of dollars
to
the consumers? How much is left for the lenders?
None. That's my back of the envelope, because they've been doing this for 10 years, 8 years anyway. As a corporation, they've been doing it for 8 years. And they got hundreds of thousands of customers. My back of the envelope calculations say it's hundreds of billions.
I know there's people that if they stayed here on the video and watched this long, I know some people go, man, they're going to come after you. Camping World's going to come after you.
Me?
Or me, for even talking about this.
Oh, it's public record, isn't it?
This is the truth. It's not, as long as you don't lie. You know, my friend Ron Burge, the lawyer, you just don't lie. Just tell the truth.
What are we telling people the truth about? We're telling them that there's hope. That you thought you were stuck forever, and that's what you've been telling people.
Yeah, I have been saying that.
Yes, because, you were taken advantage of. And I've heard you say it. Next time, read the paperwork. Next time, be more careful. No. They shouldn't have done this to you. The thing about the credit has been a problem in America for over 150 years. But the most recent stuff, car guys don't do this. And if they do, the Federal Trade Commission shuts them down.
Yeah.
The states they're getting the complaints at the state level. The states should do this. And the states are going to make a profit on the deal. In Oregon, they got paid $500,000 to collect $3 million for the victims.
Imagine the big states, Texas and Florida and California, where the RV sales have just been through the roof.
Governor's going to love them. Going to fill that hole in the Justice Department's going to become a profit center, huh?
Go figure.
And you said, well, is anybody going to jail? Well, isn't that kind of a form of punishment that's more or less ideal?
With the Oregon ruling and now every other state's AG department having a legal precedent, Camping World is in deep trouble. and I believe they know it. They can see this, I don't know, the tsunami as they call it, tsunami coming their way, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. If you've ever been cheated, overcharged, or stuck in a bad RV loan, now is your time to fight back. As I said, the court ruling in Oregon has set a legal precedent. And if enough people take action, the dominoes would fall in every state across the country. But you have to act. Scan the QR code. It's right there. Scan it. File your claim. Spread the word. The more people who step forward, the bigger the wave is going to grow. And the harder it will hit Camping World and other sleazy RV dealerships who are using the same dirty tactics. And remember, we've made it incredibly easy for you. We have. If you've not yet done it already, scan the QR code down here with your phone. Follow the simple steps. It'll take you straight to everything you need to know. No lawyers, no courtrooms, just your money coming back where it belongs. Now, before we close out, I want to mention again how special of a man Kevin Fraser is. He is a true leader. He's a man of integrity and honor. And I think the world of him, I do. With this video, Kevin is giving people the tools to fight back against one of the biggest scams in the RV industry. So now it's up to you. It is. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Scan the QR code, follow the steps, get your money back. Share this video far and wide, because the more people who see it, the more millions Camping World is going to have to cough up. They've been getting away with this for way too long, folks, but thanks to Kevin, and thanks to the court ruling, and thanks to you, the tables have finally turned. Now, let's keep the fire a-burning. Scan that QR code, share the video, and let's make them pay. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, reminding you, be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.